It was Christmas time. The drivers, firemen, guards and the Fat Controller had been at home eating Christmas dinner and opening presents. But now the holiday was over and Thomas and his friends knew they would soon be very busy. All over the island of Sodor, aunts and uncles, cousins and nieces, nephews and grandparents were preparing to say goodbye to their families and return to their own homes. The bigger engines, such as Henry and Gordon, would pull extra carriages that day, but they didn't mind. It was good to have steam in their boilers again. Thomas watched the other engines puff importantly away. Soon it would be his turn. Then he realised that his driver had not arrived, nor was his fireman anywhere to be seen, and there was no coal in his firebox. His two carriages, Annie and Clarabelle, shivered and grumbled in the shed. What was the matter? Bertie the bus came into the yard. "Hello, Thomas," he said. "Are you too tired to go out today?" By this time, Thomas was feeling cross. "Of course I'm not too tired," he replied. "I'm waiting for my instructions. In fact, I've been waiting for hours. It's not good enough. When I see the Fat Controller, I shall say so." "Thomas," said Bertie, but Thomas wouldn't stop to listen. "I didn't mean to crash into the station master's house last year when he was eating breakfast, and I've already promised that I won't fall down a mine again, so why doesn't he believe me?" "Thomas," said Bertie, "there's something I think you should know." "Just wait till I see him," finished Thomas. And then Thomas did. The Fat Controller, wearing a brand new hat, stepped off the bus. "I did try to warn you," whispered Bertie. Thomas was sorry he had been so cross. Would he be in trouble again? But the Fat Controller did not appear to have heard him complaining. "Good morning, Thomas," he said, smiling. "Did you have a good rest over the Christmas holidays?" "Yes, thank you," said Thomas. "I'm glad," said the Fat Controller, "because I have important work for you." Thomas was pleased. "With all the bad weather we have been having," said the Fat Controller, "a lot of Christmas mail has been delayed and will be arriving from the mainland this evening. Percy will be waiting at the depot, but he won't be able to pull the mail train on his own. I think he could do with some help. This afternoon I would like you to go to the mail depot. The postman will be waiting for you and will load sacks of letters and parcels into Annie and Clarabelle." Thomas was very proud. He had never been given so much responsibility. His driver and fireman reported for duty, and by early evening they arrived at the depot. The postmen were waiting for them, just as the Fat Controller had said they would be. Percy was very excited to see his friend and challenged him to a race. "Oh, I don't know," said Thomas. "The mail is too important to take risks." "Don't worry," said Percy. "I know the route as well as I know my own buffers." When all the mail was loaded and his driver had been given instructions as to where to deliver the mail, Thomas started to leave. "Can't catch me!" shouted Percy, and he rushed out of the depot. Unfortunately, the cold weather had iced up the points. Percy slid over them and came off the rails. "Oh, no!" cried Percy. "What are we going to do now?" said Thomas. One of the postmen telephoned the Fat Controller at home. It was very late and the Fat Controller was just about to go to bed. Nervously, the postman explained the situation. As he finished, he said, "So I'm afraid Percy has been rather naughty. What do you think we should do?" The Fat Controller was still in a good mood after Christmas. "I won't be able to arrange a crane until we are less busy. Tell Thomas he would have to do his best to deliver all the mail himself. As for Percy..." The Fat Controller started laughing. "Accidents will happen, I suppose. Ho, ho, ho." Percy was glad that the Fat Controller was not angry with him. "I'm sorry, Thomas," he said. "Will you be able to manage?" "I should think so," replied Thomas. "Yes, I'm sure we will. Won't we, Annie and Clarabelle?" Annie and Clarabelle weren't at all sure, as dozens of sacks filled with letters and parcels were transferred from the mail train to them. The fireman stoked the boiler and the driver opened the valve. Thomas's wheels started turning. With much creaking and groaning from Annie and Clarabelle, they moved slowly forward. "It really is heavy," gasped Thomas. Fortunately, the first part of the track out of the mail depot was downhill. Before long, they were making good speed. The stars shone brightly in the winter sky. As the night wore on and his driver dropped off mail sacks at the stations, Thomas's load grew lighter. Annie and Clarabelle were beginning to enjoy being out at night. They chatted noisily until the driver told them to be quiet. When Thomas stopped to take on water, the two carriages fell fast asleep. "Shall we wait a while?" asked the fireman. "I'm tired as well." "We can't," said Thomas. "We have to deliver all the mail before people get up in the morning." Just then, the driver looked up at the sky. There was not a star to be seen. "We'd better get a move on," he said. "I think a snowstorm is on its way." Reluctantly, Annie and Clarabelle woke up. Thomas and the mail train made good time, but even so, dawn was breaking when they arrived back at the engine shed. The fat controller was waiting for them. "Well done, everybody," he said. "Make sure you get a good sleep now. We should have a crane ready to put Percy back on rails tomorrow, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to go out again tonight." "That's all right," said Thomas, as he shunted safely back into his shed. "We enjoyed ourselves, didn't we?" But Annie and Clarabelle were sound asleep. His driver said, "Good night," or "Is it good morning, Thomas?" Thomas looked out of the shed window. He thought to himself, "I must ask the driver to fit the snowplough when he comes back," and then fell fast asleep.